This is a bit of a bonus episode. I don't expect too much people to be bothering with this specifically, but it's something that I neglected to mention in any of the other videos, and I want to cover it. So far, every single time we've made a function, we've made it a void return type. And I made mention to that a little bit earlier on, where every single function we have, even the ones we made ourselves, are always void types. Here again, public void got key. And I want to cover what else you can put here, because it's actually really, really powerful. So it's kind of hard to come up with an example within the limited context of this project that we've been working in. So I'm going to explain it to you first, and then I'm going to take you over to my own game that's in development and show you some of the scripts that I'm using return types in for functions in that. So what we can do is, instead of putting in void, we can put in literally any variable type we want. So let's start by showing off a bool, and then we can say does A equal B, giving in two floats, a float A and a float B. We now need to return a value. So we use the word return, and then we check A exactly equals to B. So it will now compare A and B and return the result of that. What does that mean? Well, now if we make a if statement, instead of putting in a condition directly or putting in a bool directly, we can actually put in this function and it will work as if you're reading a bool, because that is essentially what you are doing. So we can say does A equal B? We need to put in parameters. So let's say 1 and 7. Well, this will never run, obviously, because 1 is not equal to 7. But here we have a function that the if statement goes, okay, this is a bool function, so let me go get that. A is 1, B is 7. We're going to return the result of comparing the two of them. Oh, that's false, so this will now be read as false. For something as simple as this, that doesn't seem like it's worthwhile going over all that headache. And that's exactly why I'm going to take you into my own game projects real quick to show off to you some instances of where it's actually useful. Because in a small context like this, yeah, it probably is not worth the headache to do this. But here we have a function that is a public static float. Again, we're finally covering the return types. I will cover static classes and functions in probably the next video. But this is a return type float. So we've got a damage calculation with a couple of things being put in here, that being the attack strength, the defense strength, and a type system, much like you would have in something like Pokemon. And we have a little bit of code here saying if our attack strength is minus our defense strength is less than or equal to 0, we return 1 to make sure that it never can deal negative damage, so healing the opponent. Else, return attack strength times get type effectiveness, which, now that I'm explaining this out loud, actually has an issue with this code. I'm not going to explain it to you. If you can figure out the issue with this code on your own, leave it down below in the comments. It's a nice little bit of homework for you. But here you can see we have two different potential returns. We can either return 1 or we can return the result of this calculation. And this get type effectiveness by itself, is a little bit down here, is also a float function. So we've got this whole list of code here, which compares the attacking type and the defending type and returns a multiplier, either 1, 1.5 or 0.5, that can be used just as a number in a multiplication over here. But even as you can see in this class over here, a lot of what we're doing here still are void functions. Most of it is functionality that just needs to do something and doesn't need to return anything. And a very big thank you to all of my Patreons. You can see them on screen right now. If you want to help out supporting the channel, there's a link down below.